was saying, I want to thank you, I for putting this event together. It's wonderful to have all of you here. They're one of our premium partners, and we enjoy working with them and for the commitment of their business and their commitment to Salesforce. So before we start, I think we're going to spend about half an hour together, and I know all of you are eager to see a demonstration of Salesforce and what you've heard a lot about cloud computing and where the industry is going and about insurance. So what I'll do is I'll spend about 30 minutes talking to you a little bit about Salesforce.com, give you a background on our company, where we've come from, where we're going, so share with you a little bit about our future, and as well as tell you where we think the cloud computing model is going and how that relates to the insurance industry. So before we do that, what I'd like to do is just kind of get an idea of who is in the audience. So how many people in the room have heard of Salesforce.com? Can you just please raise your hand? Okay, so not a lot of people. And how many people are here to learn about cloud computing? Show of hands. Familiar with cloud computing? Okay. How many people are here because they just wanted to get out of the office? Okay. All right. So why don't we start? Before we get into the presentation, I'm going to show you our safe harbor statement. This is also a slide which keeps us out of jail. We are a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange. So what I'll be talking to you a lot about today is not just our current products, but also about our future offerings. So any decision that you make on Salesforce.com should be based on our current products and not on our future offerings. If you'd like to read this exciting text, you can find it on our website at www.salesforce.com. So let's get into the presentation. As I said, we're going to spend about 30 minutes, and first I'll give you an overview of just where we've come from. So about 12 years ago, our CEO, Mark Benioff, he had a vision. He had a vision on how and why software should be easy to use, just like consumer software. So you have applications like eBay, you have Amazon.com, and those applications are consumer applications that anyone can go on the internet, anyone can go on a website and be able to use. You don't need any training for that. You don't need people to come and spend hours or months to be able to train you. So Mark had this vision on how we could transform the whole industry into where business applications should be as easy to use as consumer applications. So in the 60s, just like the main predominant technology was mainframe, in the 80s was client server, about 10 to 12 years ago, this shift happened where applications or the industry started moving towards what's now called cloud computing. And cloud computing is basically a concept where you're using the web to access applications. So it's just basically using the internet to be able. There's no need for any hardware. There's no need for any software. You're basically accessing the applications, and there's no need for you to set up any infrastructure. That happened about 12 years ago. What we've seen a trend in the market is that not just the whole industry, but applications. So you were accessing a certain application, but a lot of the other applications started moving to the cloud. So HR applications, productivity applications, finance applications. You have solutions like Workday, Intuit. Lots of other applications started to come about over a period of time where you can actually or pretty much run your entire business using the internet or cloud computing. Again, what we saw is that trend continued and platforms started moving to the cloud. So you could develop these applications in the cloud, on the web, and that was not just Salesforce.com that was building this platform. Other companies like Google, like Amazon, even Microsoft, they're building these platforms that you can do development on the internet. And that continued into a trend where the collaboration started moving into the cloud. So, where maybe about 20 to 30 years ago, you used to have collaboration tools like Lotus Notes, Novell, and other technology, that transformed into, in the 2000s, where you had SharePoint. But these were still very intensive applications that took a long time, hard to access, hard to configure. And Facebook and Twitter, social applications, really changed the way we collaborate. So we're going to be talking a little bit about how Salesforce plays into that area and how we integrate into some of those applications and some of the other applications that we've developed ourselves as well. So just a little bit about Salesforce and how we've kind of changed the industry. So there's three main areas where Salesforce.com, we believe that we've really transformed the way the industry works. Number one is the technology model. So in the way we deliver our solutions, that's over the internet. That's not the old traditional on-premise solution. There's also an industry model where we've transformed the way you access these this information and how we're building different applications. And that's a whole industry that we've created. And we'll talk a little bit about that. And then last but not least, we believe that it's important to be a successful company, but being a successful company is not the only thing. You need to be socially responsible. So we have a philanthropy model where we give back to the community, and we'll be talking a little bit about that as well. So let's jump into the technology model. So really the most important thing I think for you to take away from the technology model is really understanding that the big difference between the different cloud computing solutions that are out there is a concept called multi-tenant architecture. And multi-tenant architecture, if you look at it in a very simple example, is really if you're living in a condominium, you're sharing all the services. So there's a swimming pool, there's other facilities that are provided in the condominium. So those facilities are shared by many people in a building. Whereas if you build your own house and you want to have a swimming pool and you want to have all those facilities, you have to build it for yourself. So the cloud computing model in the multi-tenant architecture gives you the ability to have these economies of scale where you can share these services. So you don't have to pay for all of that on your own, but we are building all of that for you, and you can share that along with many other companies. So what that does is it allows for greater innovation. So you are focusing on your core business, on innovating in your company instead of building the infrastructure. It's transparent to the users, so you don't have to spend hours and months, and your IT team doesn't have to do that. And it's very secure, it's reliable, and it's available to you real time. So those are kind of the key ingredients of what makes a successful cloud computing solution is the multi-tenant architecture. So when you hear about cloud computing, there's a lot of solutions or a lot of companies or vendors that offer a cloud computing solution, but it's still based on a single tenant architecture, something important for you to keep in mind. And the new technology model is also about listening to your customers and listening to your partners to drive the innovation. So it's not just about you coming up with the different solutions to be able to present to them, it's just hearing what your customers and your partners are asking for. What type of new features, what type of new technology, what is missing, what is going to make them successful. And we have done that very successfully at Salesforce, where we use a product, one of the products that we've built called IDEA, or an IDEA Exchange, which is a public website, where anyone of you here in the room can go to this website and you can tell us if you're a Salesforce.com user, or even if you're not a user, or what you would like to see in future products. So we collect that feedback from our customers and our partners, and we incorporate that into future releases of our products. So today, if you can see on the right-hand side, we have over 10,000 ideas. Many of these can be voted. So what our product management or product marketing team does is it votes the ideas. So it will see which ideas are the most popular, which makes the biggest business impact on companies, and then they will come up with the future product releases based on that. So it's really the new technology model is listening to your customers and listening to your partners to be able to deliver a solution that's important to you. Let's talk a little bit about the industry model, and I mentioned that a few minutes ago. In the cloud computing model, you have one single stack of all the applications. So unlike the on-premise solutions, which have been around for a long time, the cloud computing model allows you to buy only applications or only solutions that you need. Instead of committing to a large number of users or large capital investment, this is an operating cost. You're basically innovating, and you're getting automatic upgrades with the solution. It's a try before you buy approach. So a lot of times companies come to us and say, we like Salesforce or we like the solution, but we're not ready to commit. And we're okay with that. I mean, we would like you to commit, but we're okay with that because we are confident that we will make you successful. And that's the reason why the cloud computing model has been successful. And we show you some of the success and the growth that we've had is because we give you the ability to really try a solution, see if it works in your environment, and be able to scale from there. The predictable cost is also a very important part of the this whole new industry we've created, because what companies usually do is they commit to a software application or new technology and end up spending a lot more money than they expected. In the cloud computing model, in the model that we're talking about in this new industry, we give you a predictable cost. So you know exactly what you're going to pay, how much you're going to pay per year, and it provides you with that cost certainty. And that's very attractive to, especially to CFOs, but to any company that's looking to invest in new technologies, the cost certainty. And then, a couple of other things, being environmentally friendly and being a solution that includes everything, so there's no hidden cost. So all of that has led to Salesforce.com's pretty significant growth. So as you can see here, we are a $2 billion plus company, and we're for a company our size. As you can see over the years, we've seen some pretty dramatic growth both in terms of revenue and in terms of our customer base. But just in terms of, if you look at the size of our company, growing at 35%. Quarter over quarter or year over year is not a small feat for a company our size. And the reason why we show this slide is not to make you, not to show off or to tell people how successful we are, but it's really to show you that the cloud computing model is growing so quickly that has led to a phenomenal growth for Salesforce.com and for other cloud computing companies. And it's because of people like yourselves in this room that make Salesforce.com successful. We have over 104,000 paying subscribers, many of them in Thailand, many of them in Asia Pacific, and we'll be showing you some examples, and we'll be showing you some references of companies that are using us today here. So last thing about the industry model is we call this the democratization of software. So software that's available to you should be able to use by a company of any size. It really should not matter if you're a small company or if you're a large company. The economies of scale for a small company do not allow to use an enterprise application. And we really feel that that's not fair. And that's why we call it the democratization of software. So in large enterprise, a company like Prudential Insurance, who's one of our customers around the world and also in Thailand, or a Canon, or somewhere in the mid-market segment, a company in the mid-range, companies like Xerox, or even smaller companies, we have a lot of smaller companies that use us, should we all be able to use the same technology? So this elasticity of our solution to be able to use again around multiple segments and multiple industries makes us very unique, because now you're getting the functionality and the features that would typically not be available to you if you were a small company. So just kind of give you a sense, we play in pretty much every market. So Salesforce.com is a CRM solution. We have a platform. We have many applications. But as far as our penetration into different markets is concerned, we play in pretty much every market. We've had a lot of success working with insurance companies around the world. Some of them are global customers. Some of them are regional customers. But this is just to kind of give you an idea, both in the life and annuities business, as well as brokers, and pretty much in any space of the insurance business, we have customers that are using us. And again, we'll be talking to you about some of the specific examples in a few minutes from now. So this new industry model is really about evangelization. And evangelization is making your customers successful and making your customers excited about the solution that you're using. Recently, about 2 weeks ago, we had our annual user conference. We call it Dreamforce in San Francisco. And we had about 45,000 people attending. I mean, that's a very large conference, and these people come to the Dreamforce not just to network, but also to learn from each other on how they're using the application. And a lot of these are evangelists because they get value out of our solution, and they want to be able to share that excitement with other customers, and they want to be able to show them what they've been able to do Salesforce so other people can take advantage of that. And what that's led to is really for us, what we like to call the referral economy. And the referral economy is all about making customers successful and those customers talking to other customers. So if you see just some of the statistics, we like to share this just to show you, how we're doing. 92% of our customers are willing to recommend us to other customers. That's a very high statistic, because that means that this is all done by an independent study. That really only shows you that our customers are happy, they're willing to talk to other customers, they're willing to recommend us, and they see value in the solution. Some other statistics, 77 have recommended us already. This is a very high number, so that's kind of how we get most of our interest, most of our leads is customers talking to other customers and word of mouth. So it's really the referral economy, as we call it. Just quickly on some awards that we won over the years. A lot of these are North American based, but Gartner is a very large organization, analyst company, Forrester, pretty much in every segment of Salesforce automation, in CRM. We've been ranked as a leader. We're the 4th fastest growing company according to Fortune magazine. We're the number 1 company according to Forbes as the most innovative company. So lots of accolades, lots of awards that we won over the years. And again, it's because of customers like yourselves. So before we get into where the cloud computing industry is going, I wanted to share with you our philanthropy model. I mean, this is very important. It's important to our company and to our CEO. We like to give back to the community. So we have this philanthropy model, which is called 1-1-1. So 1% of our time, 1% of our equity, and 1% of our product goes back into the community. So there's a lot of non-profit organizations around the world who can't afford to use Salesforce, and we will give our product to them for free. There's a lot of time that our employees will invest into the community because we want to give back, and there's a lot of grants that we've given over the years. So this is a very popular model because a lot of companies saw that we were a socially responsible company, and even large companies, Google has adopted the same philanthropy model that we have. So it's really, for us, driving not just a successful company, but also from a community point of view, we're driving success in the community and giving back. So let's talk a little bit about cloud computing and where the future of the enterprise IT is going. So there are a couple of key things that are important to enterprises: reliability, scalability, performance, trust, and being able to access your information in real time. I mean, those are kind of the key ingredients of making any successful application. As you can see here, some of the largest organizations around the world have standardized on cloud computing, namely Salesforce.com. So if you look at companies like Dell, which is one of the largest organizations around the world, every employee at Dell has a license of Salesforce.com. So they use this globally. Other companies like Japan Post happens to be our largest customer around the world. I believe they have about 150,000 people on Salesforce.com. So it's really becoming the industry standard where people are embracing cloud computing and are willing to put all of their information on the cloud platform. And then if you look at even some smaller companies, I mean, these are very large companies relative to some of your companies here, but so, companies like Canon and Citibank, they have thousands of users on Salesforce.com. So the cloud computing model, a couple of other differentiators on the cloud computing model and what makes it different. So it's important for companies when they adopt new technology, especially in the insurance industry, which is a very competitive industry, is why should we be choosing a certain technology over another? And what makes cloud computing different is really the time to value or time to market. So being able to deploy applications faster. We believe that cloud computing is 5 times faster. And again, this was all studies or white papers that were done by independent companies. We believe it's much faster that for you to roll out these applications in a cloud computing model. We believe it's much more efficient, so 95% more efficient. So all of the things that we talked about a few minutes ago, the multi-tenant architecture, the pay-as-you-go, the operating costs, accessing your real-time information, make up the cloud computing model, and getting your applications faster and getting them more efficient makes it a much more attractive model than any other model out there in the market. So we're also, there's a lot of discussion, a lot of talk about being environmentally friendly, so being green. So the cloud computing model is also very energy efficient. You don't have to buy the servers. You're not burning as much energy. So if you just look at some of the statistics here that show you the comparison, you can see that the cloud computing model is also very attractive model. If your company is environmentally friendly and is looking at that as one of the ways to be able to stay with the market trends. If you'd like more information on that, you can get it at green.salesforce.com. We'll provide you a lot of information on that. So in closing, before we talk about where the industry and where we believe the trend is going, what we did is we hear a lot, when we go and we talk to different companies, they tell us, so you're a cloud computing solution, but we've had discussions with 5 other companies that are telling us that they have a cloud computing solution too. So we've come up with there's maybe 6 or 7 different areas that we believe that you should be looking at. So this is a best practice that we'd like to share with you. When you're looking at a cloud computing solution, it doesn't have to be just with CRM. For any other application in your company, please make sure that you're aware of these areas. So this is what we like to call it the cloud computing test. Are there any hardware and software costs involved? In a true cloud computing solution, there should be no hardware or software costs involved. It should all be bundled into one cost. Is this company providing you with the automatic upgrades? Is it scalable? Is it democratic? Is there an application marketplace where you can extend the application in many different areas? And is it energy efficient? So those are just some areas for you to think about as you look at different cloud computing solutions. So where is this all going? So cloud computing, we've talked a little bit about that. There's a lot of buzz around cloud computing. What is the next trend in cloud computing? I think it doesn't come as a surprise for anyone to really see that the cloud computing model is moving towards what we like to call as the social enterprise. And that's really about communicating with your employees internally, and that's communicating with your customers. So it's all about communication and all about collaboration. It's about Facebook. It's about Twitter. We'll introduce you to a new concept where we have an application called Chatter, and we'll actually show you a demo of that later on in the demonstration on how that allows you for better communication and better collaboration internally with your company. In an insurance world, in your space, most of you work for insurance companies, there's also a huge focus on customer retention, customer service, and customer success. And being able to collaborate better with your brokers, being able to collaborate better with your agents, and all of that is very important to any organization, any insurance organization. So tying all of these social applications into your enterprise, communicating better with your employees internally and with your customers is what we like to call the social enterprise. And again, we'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. So the cloud, what we also see as a trend in the cloud space is cloud computing is not about buying a software application and then implementing it and forgetting about it. That's the old on-premise type of model where you just buy an application, you roll it out, and you hope that people will use it. We like to call it a journey. This is a journey where you start small, you use some functionality, and then you add more capability and functionality as you grow. So this is more of a partnership, which has also been one of the key reasons for our success, is because we have to earn your business every year. We're a subscription model. It's like buying a phone service. When you go to a phone company and you subscribe for a phone service, after your 1-year contract or whatever the length may be, you can go back to the phone company and say, I'm not happy with my service, I'm going to a different phone company. So they always have to provide you with good service, and they have to provide you with affordable rates for you to give them business for another year. Our model is very similar, where we don't sell you a big software application and walk away. We have to continuously make you successful. We have to continuously make sure that you're using the application. So this journey about this partnership starts with you starting small, using some of the capability and being successful with it, and then growing that capability over a period of time and making sure that you're utilizing and benefiting from the application. So in the insurance, being a very competitive space, there's 3 areas that we feel are critical. Number 1, collaboration and networks. Number 2 is the agility or the rapid deployment. And number 3 is the access on how you're accessing these applications and by what channels. And we'll talk about all 3 of them briefly. So let's talk about collaboration and networks first. In today's world, in the busy world that we have, no matter what job you have, what function you're in a company, whether you're finance, whether you're sales, marketing, operation, whatever it may be, you are you're swamped with information. There's so many things to do. It's really, really hard to keep track of all the information, especially for salespeople. If you're an agent or a broker or whatever role that you're in an insurance company, you have all this information that you need to find, whether it's sales information, whether it's marketing information. Are you really sure that the latest documents the documents that you're using in your company are the latest documents? You have no idea. It's too much information. So really very, very hard to stay on top of all of that information. We saw that there was a market need, and being a very innovative company over the years, we developed a technology called Chatter. And we'll be showing you that technology in our demonstration in a few minutes from now. But this is the analogy or the example that we would use is very similar. The concept of Chatter is very similar to Facebook, but it's really built for the business enterprise. So all of this information is being pushed to you. You don't have to go and look for the information, just like in Facebook. When you go to Facebook, you don't have to go and find out what your friends are doing. All that information is being pushed down to you, so you're aware of that information. You can collaborate with them. Similarly, wouldn't it be nice if you're working on an opportunity or an account, or you're working on a case in your company, or a ticket where there's a support problem with a customer, if you're being told what the status of this is, and you can proactively go and tackle that information. Chatter allows you to do that. It allows for better communication within your team. It allows for better communication with your clients. It allows for better communication just on projects and opportunities, on deals, whatever it may be. And again, like I said, you'll see a live demonstration of that in a few minutes from now. So this collaborative nature of Chatter has really allowed companies to change the way they're working. One example is an insurance company called Farmers. I'm sure many of you have heard of Farmers. They're using the Chatter application, and they've been able to leverage this technology to improve the collaboration in their company and really change the way they work. So instead of people going to look for that information, wasting a lot of time and wasting a lot of effort, all of this information is being fed to them, leads to better revenue, more revenue, increased revenue, better efficiency, more productive organizations. And then again, one of the most critical things in today's world, I would say probably 90% of the people in this room have a smartphone. If you look at it 10 years ago or 15 years ago, that number would have been probably not even half that number. So smartphones are here, and they're here to stay, and the technology will only improve. So what we've also seen over the years is that it's important for people while they're out of the office, your salespeople, your employees, your customers, to be able to communicate with them over mobile devices, whether it's an iPhone or BlackBerry or an iPad. So no matter where you are, we provide you with an application on any device to be able to access Salesforce and to be able to have this communication. And that's part of the trend of the cloud computing model, where we see that the access by mobile phones or mobile devices will only continue to increase over time, and that will be a core function of the success of the whole cloud computing model. So the collaboration around insurance companies, as we talked about a minute ago, is really breaking down the silos in the companies. Because many companies, even small companies, what's interesting for us to see is when we talk to bigger companies, there's a lot of silos around the company. People are working independently. Even if you're sitting across from someone, you don't really know what they're working on. Even in small companies, we see those silos. So in the insurance world, breaking these silos, having a better communication is really, really key. And again, Chatter provides you with a technology or a platform to be able to do that. Being able to leverage your relationships and cross-sell and upsell, very critical, especially to the industry, to the insurance industry, is looking for competitive ways where you can sell more to your existing customers, service them better, find cross-sell and upsell opportunities. Chatter allows you to do that. Well, what's your customer doing? What business have you done with them? What business could you potentially do with them? And being able to share this knowledge across your organization and being able to share this knowledge with your customers is really the key. McKinsey did an independent study which really talked about gaining market share. And I'll show you a slide again at the end of the presentation that talks about the network enterprise. But really it's about leveraging the social networks around the world to be able to become a more productive and more efficient organization. So if you see here, companies leveraging networks intensively gain market share. So it's all about getting revenue, especially in a competitive industry like the insurance industry. Getting more revenue, getting higher margins, really, really key. And again, this was an independent study done by McKinsey. So what about the agility and the rate of change? I think one of the other things that has been really, really important and really where people have found that there's been a huge gap has been the ability of IT to deliver business applications that business users have been asking for. So when we go talk to companies, it's a very common and a very standard complaint that we hear. IT hasn't delivered the applications we were looking for. But IT is too busy managing all the infrastructure and all of the application. So business is blaming IT and IT is blaming business. We, again, by seeing through independent studies, there's like a $500 billion gap in between what the business needs and what IT has been able to deliver. We see that increasing to over $1 trillion. So there's this huge market opportunity where cloud computing fills that void or that gap where you're able to roll out these applications quickly and do it in a efficient manner. One company that was able to take advantage of this rapid deployment is Cigna. Cigna is, as I'm sure most of you know, insurance company. They have this e-onboarding application process that they were using an on-premise solution. When they moved over to Salesforce to collaborate in the cloud, they were able to see dramatic results. So just kind of a couple of things from this e-onboarding application process that they rolled out. 33% improved in provider activation time. So their activation times were about 9 days. With a cloud computing solution, they were able to bring that down to 6 days. They were able to improve on the dropped form. So they had this form that that would fall through the cracks, and from 40% almost down to 0. So huge gains in terms of productivity, huge gains in terms of efficiency that you're able to do when you roll out a solution that people are finding value in. So then overall, it also improves your collaboration in the company. Another example is AIG, which is again a very large insurance company. They use us around in many different areas, including North America. This example is specifically about Japan, how they're using one of our applications to be able to access the information for sales and service through iPhones. But again, I think the message what we want to deliver here is we have a lot of expertise and a lot of strength and a lot of experience in the insurance industry. There's a really huge need and niche in the insurance industry to move quickly and to have a competitive advantage. And it's very hard to do that in an on-premise environment. The cloud solution allows you that agility, allows you that mobility to be able to do that and to be able to meet the growing needs and the rapidly changing needs. And again, we talked about the mobile piece on how you're able to access these applications on mobile devices. And then last but not least is, the different channels. So whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or the social network, whether it's through providing different portals. So we have different portals that you can give access to your partners, to your customers. All of these are different communication channels that you can have this collaboration and have this ongoing dialogue with your customers that gives you more insight into them with an opportunity to upsell and cross-sell. Bank of America is one of our big customers in North America. They use all different social networks to be able to communicate with their customers and be able to collect feedback. They use our Twitter technology and the integration with Twitter. And they've been able to, by rolling this out and using Salesforce.com, they're using about their 1,100 tweets a day. It's pretty high. I mean, for a company the size of Bank of America, it doesn't seem very high, but still, they were able to roll this out fairly quickly. They have 6,000 followers on Twitter. So these are all technologies that would take a long time in large organizations to roll out, but you can do that fairly quickly and fairly efficiently when you use a cloud computing solution because it doesn't tie up your IT resources. I believe we have some people here in the audience from Prudential. It's one of our large insurance customer around the world. They've been using us for many different areas. One of the areas was customer retention. They actually use us in Thailand as well. And they were able to implement, just in a matter of 4 months, over 1,000 users. I mean, this would be unheard of when you looked at on-premise software, which usually takes months, sometimes years to be able to implement. They got $27 million in net new business in a very difficult business climate. I mean, that just shows that by implementing a solution in the cloud, being agile, being efficient, you can get very quick results. You can reduce your overall cost, you can increase your revenue, and it improves your relationship both with your customers as well as your partners. So I talked about this a few minutes ago. What are the benefits of a network enterprise? So McKinsey did this study that talked about being a network enterprise. So when you have all these social networks out there and you become a social enterprise where you're using all of these networks internally as well as externally to collect customer feedback, you are just a more efficient company. Better revenue, better customer service. If you see some of the statistics that are on this slide, 24% increased revenue, 43% greater market share. I mean, those are staggering numbers. I mean, those are average numbers that we just took, but it just goes to show that you can get fairly quick results, and you can do it, and it doesn't really take a lot of effort because you're investing in a technology that can allow you to do that fairly quickly. So, in closing, what I'd like to do is just kind of leave you with where this cloud computing model is going. So executives are leveraging cloud computing for many different reasons. There's the top of mind for most executives, including a lot of you, I'm sure, is how do we get better at what we're doing with less resources. In a difficult business climate, where we've seen the financial crisis, we've seen a lot of the stock market taking a tumble. There's not a lot of growth happening so we have to make best of what we have, and so how do we do more with less? And when executives look at this, a couple of 5 key priorities we've listed out here, these are really important. How do we return to growth? How do we find new partners, whether it's the government? How do we go about finding new avenues, new ways to be able to generate business? How do we drive our business even if, so that it's recession-proof? So in a year from now, in 2 years from now, as the financial crisis returns, you want to be able to have a business plan, and you want to be able to have a business that can ride through that wave. The cloud solution, any cloud solution, it's not just Salesforce.com, provides you with a mechanism that delivers that. From a financial point of view, there's the cost savings are there. From a transparency and intelligence point of view, you get better visibility into your business. You can make better business decisions. It provides for innovation and cost certainty or cost containment. You don't have this huge capital and infrastructure, and you don't have this huge capital investment that you have to make. What about regulatory compliance? Especially in the insurance world, there's regulatory compliance. In the healthcare, lots of financial. There's a lot of regulatory compliance that you need to adhere to. Salesforce.com and any cloud solution can quickly and efficiently help you get there. And then just providing a better customer experience. So customer relationship management. How do you have a better customer experience? How do you get closer to your customers? How do you improve that experience? So the cloud solution, in closing what I'll leave you with, is really the cloud solution is built with one thing in mind, and it's about customer success. It's about making your customers successful so that you have a better and more efficient business. And we've been able to do that with a lot of those companies out there. We shared some examples with you. We have 104,000 companies that are using our solution. We hope to work with you, with many of you in this room, but we thought that we'd share with you our vision. We'd share with you on where Salesforce.com is going as a company. And we have a team of people here, so once the event is over, we'd be happy to have a conversation with you, as well as with the I&I team. And again, I want to thank them for putting this together. Kun Samchai is back in the room, and again, thank you for giving us the opportunity to come and speak with you. I'm happy to take any questions if you have. but otherwise I'll pass it back to Panisha. Thank you.